Hello my beautiful book besties and welcome to a new video where we are going to be chatting about my last TBR of 2024. If you are new here, my name is Liv. I cannot believe I'm sitting here sharing my last TBR of 2024 with you. I am absolutely flabbergasted how we even got here, like what happened this year. I feel like a lot happened this year, but at the same time it feels like an absolute blur. But regardless, I am so excited to be here sitting with you today to chat about the last few books that I'm going to be reading this year. And I thought that I would kind of combine ideas here with two different videos. One is my typical December TBR. You guys know I always share kind of what's on my mood reading list or what I have planned for book clubs or readathons and all of that stuff. But also I've been seeing a lot of people do this 10 before the end book tag. I don't know if it's a book tag. It is going around on Bookstagram where people basically have a list of 10 books they want to read before the end of the year. And I thought, you know what? That's what I want to do too. I want to have those 10 solid books. So we have a good mixture of a few Christmas books as well as some fun books that you guys have probably heard me talk about nonstop all year long. And I keep telling myself, okay, well, December is your last chance to read them. I have this inkling that I am going to still have the chance to read like an all-time favorite of the year book in this TBR. So I'm very excited to chat with you about the books. I'm sorry also if I sound a little bit congested. You can definitely tell it is December here because it's gotten colder and I have felt sick for the past week. But we're going to try to keep things short and sweet today, and I just wanted to share with you what I'm planning to read because I also want to hear what you guys are planning to read before the end of the year. Before we jump straight into the TBR, I wanted to let you guys know what I have going on over on my Patreon for the month of December. We basically have something going on every weekend leading up till Christmas. This weekend we are going to be watching the new Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie. Next weekend I also have a surprise Christmas readathon that I'm going to be doing with another friend. We're going to be collaborating and joining Patreons to do this. So stay tuned for more details about that. I will try to post about it here on YouTube. And the thing that I am most excited about is last year I actually hosted a Secret Santa book gift exchange where you drew someone's name, you ship them a book from their Amazon wish list, and we all opened it live together on camera, and it was so much fun to see people's reaction. But if you guys want to join and get into the festive spirit, join us for games, lots of sprints, a readathon, book exchange, like all of that fun stuff you can find over on my Patreon. There's obviously no obligation there because it is a busy time of year. I know you're already buying presents for your family and your loved ones, so there's no pressure whatsoever. But I always like to mention my Patreon because we do have a lot of fun over there. I also host a monthly book club called the Tea Time Society, and for our last choice of the year, you guys voted for The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. I could not be more excited that this was chosen. This is kind of like a romance book with a mystery, and it's also been pitched as Knives Out. So right then and there, I knew this had to be an option for you guys to pick from. I've been hearing and seeing really good things about this. It's only 285 pages, which is not bad at all. This takes place at an English estate where our main female character, I believe, is a rom-com writer, and our male main character is a huge thriller guy. So of course they are polar opposites, but suddenly the power's out, the phones are down, and there's actually a locked room mystery that takes place in this book. I am so excited about that because I love a good rom-com, I love a good romance, but I also love when there's another element that's weaved into the story. So I could not be more excited about this. If you're reading this as well this month and you want to join me, the discussion is taking place on December 26th. So the first books I thought I would share with you are my Christmas books on this TBR, and I am actually going to have a full-on like overarching winter TBR plus some holiday recommendations coming out next week. So that's another reason why I just wanted to keep this TBR to my top 10 books for this month. So I am going to be sharing some more Christmas books in another video, but I do have a couple that I am making a priority for December, and the first one is Christmas with a Crank by Courtney Walsh. Courtney Walsh is my absolute favorite Christmas rom-com writer. She packs so much depth and meaning and heart into her stories. They are never super cheesy, but they give you the coziest atmospheric Christmas winter vibes that you could ever want in a book. For the past 3 years, I have picked up a Courtney Walsh book first because she's written a new one every year, so I'm just as excited about this one as any other year. I think this one's gonna be extra fun because it looks like a little grumpy sunshine. We have our two main characters, Liam and Olive, who grew up together as childhood friends, and they kind of liked each other back in the day. We fast forward to 20 years later, and Liam's parents are actually retiring to sell their Christmas tree farm, and I have a feeling Liam may end up taking over the Christmas tree farm, but these two end up reconnecting 20 years later, and I love a good friends to lovers, you guys, or a second chance. That is my absolute favorite. It just feels a little bit more realistic to me than enemies to lovers. This cover is absolutely adorable, and Courtney can never do anything wrong in my eyes, and I know this book is just going to be so sweet and so perfect for this time of year. Another author who I recently fell in love with, if you want someone that has like those sweet cinnamon roll men with the cozy vibes, but also something that is low or no spice and there's just some really deep connection between the characters, we have Five Stolen Rings by Gracie Ruth Mitchell. She may look familiar to you because she also wrote Juniper and Bean, and this is her brand new Christmas book that I'm so excited about. Stella Partridge never expected to move back to her hometown. She never expected to be a house sitter for the 12 days leading up to Christmas as a desperate bid to make some extra money. She definitely didn't expect to recognize the thief that breaks into the house she's watching, Jack Piora, her childhood best friend, the one who grew cold and distant overnight and never told her why. Jack insists there's something in this house that belongs to him, but Stella's not going down without a fight. Not in house sitting and not in love. If only locking the windows and doors could keep Jack from stealing her heart. Once again, we have a childhood best friends to lovers situation, which is my absolute favorite. If you have never heard of Gracie before, she has written, I think, Holiday in Paradise, or possibly another type of Christmas book, but this is her newest one. I highly recommend if you just want like a sweet, fun little story. So those are my three main priority Christmas rom-com reads. I feel like I tend to get burned out on them very easily, especially as a fantasy reader. I love some winter cozy atmospheric reads, but before we get into the cozy fantasy books that I have planned, I did want to talk about Darcy Coates. Dead of Winter seems to be her most popular wintry thriller, and I definitely know I'm going to need a thriller to break up some of these longer fantasy books that I have planned. 8 strangers, 1 killer, nowhere left to run. When Christina joins a tour group heading deep into the Rocky Mountains, she's hopeful this will be her chance to put the ghosts of her past to rest. But when a bitterly cold snowstorm sweeps the region, the small group is forced to take shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin. Despite the uncomfortably claustrophobic quarters and rapidly dropping temperature, Christina believes they'll be safe as they wait out the storm. But she couldn't be more wrong. I've heard this one is a little bit more gory, a little bit more slashery, so I also have Voices in the Snow on my list as well. I think that's another series actually, but because it's a series, I figured I would start here. Again, this is another author that has not disappointed me yet, so we're gonna try to end the year off strong. And the next books I'm actually gonna talk about together hand in hand because I don't know if I'm gonna have time for both of them, but I started on my Caraval journey earlier this year and I still have yet to read Finale. I am terrible with series, but I'm trying to get better at finishing them off, and I feel like there's nothing more satisfying than finishing a series at the very end of the year. So this is definitely my top series that I want to finish off in the month of December. If you guys have never read Stephanie Garber, her books are so magical and so perfect and atmospheric. Even if it's not wintry, I feel like the magic and the elements she brings to the table are just perfect for Christmas time regardless. But as most of you may know, she just released Spectacular, which I did end up purchasing because I already love Caraval and Legendary so much, but obviously I can't read this one yet because I haven't finished Finale, so I'm kind of upset about that because this book is beautifully illustrated. I'm sure you guys have already seen the end papers and what this book looks like. There are red and gray illustrations on almost every single page of this book, and it's absolutely stunning, so I really would love to get to this book, but in order to do that I obviously have to read Finale first. So I'm in a bit of a pickle. I don't want to read this one and then not get to this one. So I am counting these together as like part of my top 10 books I want to finish this year, because I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. It's the same author. I'm technically talking about 11 books, but I feel like you guys understand. The next last books I have are cozy fantasy books, and I am so excited to get to each and every one of these. The first one I'm actually reading is Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. I am obsessed with this world. I forgot how much I love his writing and his narration and the way he makes the story come to life. Even though this is a low stakes fantasy where we have Viv, who's injured from a war, and she is basically camped out at this seaside town. She's slowly making friends at this little town, and of course most of you know this is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. I'm so excited to dive even more into this world. I don't know why I waited so long, but this is the perfect cozy easy breezy book to get through, and it's just so magical. So I'm very much enjoying this already. Next, I have another book that I have tried once. I believe I started reading this last year. I don't know what happened because I was absolutely loving it. That is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. I have loved a majority of everything I have read by this author. Our main character Mona is actually 14, not 12, but she assists her aunt in her bakery, and one day she comes to work, as one does, and finds a dead body. But apparently this world is also full of wizards, but she doesn't have the same capabilities that a lot of other people do. But she does have a familiar, which is a sourdough starter that I believe can talk to her, which is so incredibly cute. So I'm just really excited to get lost in another sweet, standalone, easy, cozy fantasy that I know is just gonna bring those heartwarming vibes. In case I get burned out on all of my Christmas books, I obviously need something that's a little bit different but still fits the vibe of the season. Next, I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries, and I have talked about this book so many times on my channel, and I'm trusting you guys that this is going to be worth the wait, because this actually takes place October through February. Each chapter is a different journal entry where you're following this old professor who is basically studying fairies. I really feel like right now is the perfect chance to read this. I always told myself it would be perfect for the cozy fall season, but everybody keeps telling me no, it's actually pretty wintry. I'm actually really glad that I waited to pick this up because I feel like it is the perfect time to do so, and if I like this one, then I might start off the new year reading the second one as well. And last but not least, I think last year I was still finishing up some Christmassy books the day after Christmas or the week after Christmas, but this year I have bigger and better plans. I do not want to read any more Christmas books after Christmas. I would love to get my fill like at the beginning of the month, because the day after Christmas your girl is starting back into the world of Throne of Glass, and I could not be more excited because I have been waiting for the perfect moment to pick these back up. I actually have a 2-week Christmas vacation. One of those weeks I will be in Florida actually, but a road trip I feel like is the perfect time to get back into a big fantasy series. And what's better than starting the new year with an author and series you know you are already going to be obsessed with? So that is my plans for the end of this year going into the new year, but I feel like starting with Assassin's Blade as number 3 is going to be a better option. Obviously I did read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, so I feel like this is the perfect time to pick this one up. I know a lot of people think you should read this one first. I tried that. I ended up reading Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, and now we're gonna go back to this one, and I feel like it's gonna be a good refresher as well. I could not be happier about it. So I'm gonna be spending a majority of my Christmas break reading this series and probably binging it. Well, thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching, especially this time of year when things are just so crazy busy, and I know you all are prepping for the holidays, but I hope you're able to relax and enjoy some books, enjoy some family time, enjoy a hot cup of tea, and also treat yourself and be kind to yourself, because I feel like Christmas time is stressful for a lot of us when that's not the reason for the season. I'm also speaking to myself here because you can expect 4 more videos from me the rest of this year. I'm not going to be doing Bookmas or anything crazy like I typically do. I'm just going to be pouring a lot into the 4 videos that I do have planned, and pouring into a lot of Patreon, having fun with you guys. Just reading a lot of amazing books is my goal for the end of this year. So I hope you guys will be able to join me for some of that over on Patreon, because I'm extra excited this year. Before you leave, go ahead and leave me a snowflake emoji if you made it this far in the video, and also let me know what's your #1 book you must finish before the end of the year. I love you guys so incredibly much. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you in my next Christmassy video.